Hello everyone, welcome to the Content Manager 24.2 feature demo. Today we will cover a couple of new features in the web client. As part of our modernization strategy, we have been revamping the user experience around the most often used capabilities in web client. As more and more customers are adopting the web-based experience, we get several requests to enhance existing experience as well as add new capabilities that delivers on productivity. In 24.2 release, we worked with our in-house UX team to revamp the records creation experience and also introduced a new function to improve the productivity of users working with bulk records. Let's talk about the first topic, creation of records. Now, most of you would be familiar with the record creation workflows in web client. Currently, users can upload a single file, multiple files, or drag and drop them into the browser window. In last release, we added support for dropping the documents on specific folders classifications. And in 24.2, we get a new UI and a better experience to create records. Now, this new experience is simpler to understand and the users get the capabilities to manipulate the record creations a lot better. Here's the new page. The left pane has a upload button and will show the list of documents that are queued up for upload. And the central pane shows the configuration options. It will continue to support the drag and drop philosophy using which you can drop single or multiple files. Let's do a mix of both methods. Let's drop a few files and then upload a few more. So here are a few files that I can drop into this window. And then I'll upload a few more. So here's the complete list of the files that I would want to create some records. Now note that the moment I select a record type, the left pane is disabled. Now before I proceed with the additional information here, let's talk about the suppress for subsequent files button here. When I select this button, the same data would be copied across all of the documents. Let's create the first one without the suppress. So let's quickly select the author and a container. As you can see, the first document has a record associated and there is a green tick. Now we will select the suppress for subsequent files and provide the mandatory information. As you can see, proceeds to create records for all of the documents. Clicking on finish button takes us back to the landing page, which lists all the records that are created. Okay, so now it's apparent that I do not have a default record type associated with the records creation workflow. It's easy to associate a default record type, and this can be done in the document tab found in the options button in desktop client. Now, for the sake of demo, I have already done that and have restarted my web server. Let's now take a look at the record creation workflow again. So I'll drop the three files selected here, and note that in this case the left pane is grayed out. It will always be in a grayed out mode since the record type is automatically selected. Let's fill in the fields and create the records. The records are successfully created, and as usual, the landing page shows the newly created records list. Now, a point to note is that the check-in style method of record creation remains unchanged and will continue to work as is independent of this new records creation workflow. That will be revamped in a future release. I hope this feature presentation was useful to you. Now let's talk about the next feature. It's an enhancement that we call custom column view. Let's do a quick recap from the previous releases. Previous releases introduced the grid view, which is a derivative of the search windows from the desktop client, and the ability to rearrange the columns. There is also persistence in the column view, which means the arrangement of the columns is not lost in case of accidental reloads. The challenges that end user now have are often alternating tasks between one record type and another. For example, working with contracts, I want to see contact metadata in my columns, but then working with tax records, I want to see a completely different metadata displayed. Each time I go between contracts and tax records, I have to pick the column sorter and keep changing the columns one by one. That takes too long. I would prefer saving the views and name it accordingly, such as a contract view or a tax view, being able to swap between them in one click. And in this release, the user can save this arrangement and collection of columns with a name and a drop down button that lets the end user view and easily swaps the saved views that are on display. These views are per user. So this is the new window in which you can add views. You can select the particular columns that can be saved per view. So in this case, let's add a new view called checked out, and we'll just add the checked out column, and we can save the view. So right now the view for checked out is selected, and as you can see, the column for checked out is also visible here. Let's add another view. Let's call it author view. And in this view, we will select the author column and deselect the checked out column. Let's save this view. And as you can see, we now have the author columns. So from this button, you can easily switch between two views. So in this case, it is author and the checked out view. Let's look at some of the other options available in this tool. So you can of course rename the views. You can duplicate the views for quick addition or deletion of particular columns, or you can set this view as a default for desktop client. So the CM desktop client view is the one which is replicated and seen in the desktop client. So let's try to rename this. There we see it's renamed. We can also mark this view as the favorite view. And as you can see, the favorite view has a top listing, whereas the remaining views are listed under other views. I hope this feature presentation was useful to you. Thank you for attending.